Hi, you're listening to It Happened to Me, a rare disease and medical challenges podcast. The mission of our podcast is to support you, our listeners, and to create community as you confront the toughest challenges in life. All of us will experience health hardships. The real question is how we adapt. That's the focus of It Happened to Me, which wants to help you overcome limitations and live a full and satisfying life. Drawing on their own health challenges, co-hosts Cathy, Gildenhorn, and Beth Glassman interview guests who share stories and research to help you succeed in the face of difficult health obstacles. It happened to me. I'm not alone, and neither are you.
Leanna Scaglione was only a teenager when her life took an unexpected turn with a rare diagnosis of NF type 2 that predisposes individuals to tumors in their nervous system. Instead of letting that diagnosis define her, Leanna has pushed herself to live boldly, facing medical challenges head-on while continuing to chase big goals.
From setbacks that might have sidelined anyone else to accomplishments that inspire an entire community, Leanna has chosen resilience over resignation. She's now using her platform to raise awareness, motivation, and prove that life with NF2 doesn't mean giving up on living.
Thank you for joining us on It Happened to Me today, Leanna. It would be helpful for us to have you start with an explanation of NF.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I'm very much looking forward to sharing my story with you guys. So NF2 is a rare genetic disorder, like you mentioned, that causes tumors to grow throughout the nervous system. Part of the larger grouping of neurofibromatosis, or NF for short. There are 3 types in total: NF1, NF2-related schwannomatosis, or NF2 for short, which is what I have. And then just schwannomatosis. And currently there's no cure for it.
Wow. Can you take us back, please, to when you were first diagnosed with NF2? And what do you remember from that time?
I was first diagnosed with NF2 in 2007. I was 16 at the time, and I was in the midst of training to be a professional ballerina, and what I thought was a dance injury turned out to be a very large tumor in my lower spine. So there was a lot going on for me emotionally.
Leanna, can I ask you something? Would these tumors pop up in different parts of your body? Is that part of the disease?
Yes. So I have tumors throughout my entire body. I've had tumors in my spine. I've had tumors in my wrists, in my hand, in my ankle, on my calf. I have one in my shoulder, and in the brain as well. I currently have one left in my brain known as a vestibular schwannoma, and I used to have 2, but the right one was removed in 2024.
So Leanna, are you using chemotherapy in order to deal with the tumors?
So rather than chemotherapy, a lot of these treatments, which are all experimental, by the way, because like I mentioned earlier, there is no cure. They're actually immunotherapies rather than chemotherapies.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So you're using that to fight the tumor in your body, using your body in essence to fight against the invader.
Yes, that is correct.
You know, if I can just give you a silver lining in this, I have someone in my life who also has what you have. She's a great deal older than you and has been dealing with this for, I guess, about 30 years. And all I can say is she has lived to see her grandchildren. She has raised her children, lived to see her grandchildren. And I hope the same for you. It's amazing what science is able to do today. So with that, I'm going to take us back to that 16-year-old little girl with the dream of becoming a dancer, and tell me what it was like to be sidelined, to be told that wasn't going to be your future.
And first off, thank you for sharing that. It's such a incredibly rare disease, but we have a
Yes.
saying within our community that it's the most common rare disease you will find, because once you get involved in the community, you start finding everyone who's diagnosed with it, and it seems
Yes.
like you just have this giant family. So
Yes.
thank you.
And I can promise you, as a grandmother, it's the best. So you have a lot to look forward to, young lady.
I'm excited.
Yes, yes. So I'm sorry for interrupting. So you as a 16-year-old with this dream of becoming a dancer.
Yes, that was a tough time, because within my training itself, because I thought I was injured and I didn't want to say anything about my injury. So I actually was in pain for about a year and a half.
Oh no.
And
Oh, no.
yeah, I just didn't want to be looked upon differently in my classes with my teacher and everything. And on top of it, my mom sold the house and moved to a different state. And so I felt really guilty for her. And I felt like it was all my fault for her uprooting everything. And so I didn't want to ruin the situation. And so I kept quiet about the pain that I was experiencing. But unfortunately, it got to a point that I just wasn't able to lift my right leg. My hip felt like I was being stabbed constantly.
Oh.
Sitting was uncomfortable. Like I couldn't even bend over at the
Oh.
sink
I'm
when
so
brushing my
sorry.
teeth.
Oh.
So your
Ew.
mom moved in order for you to pursue your dream of being a ballerina, is what you were saying.
Yeah, my mom
Yes.
would have sold her left kidney in order for me to be a professional ballerina.
Oh.
Oh. And I have to say that part of being a dancer is living with pain. So it really is not so odd that you didn't say anything right at the beginning, I would imagine, because that's something that dancers sort of cope with, is pain.
Yes, and oddly enough, when the pain first started, I had a similar pain on my other leg, but that was an injury. It was kind of just like a stress pain in the tendons from like growing and overstretching and things like that. And so I thought it was just kind of a reoccurring thing, but on the other side this time, and I did the same thing. It's when it started to persist for longer that I was like, I did not do the same thing, but still not going to say anything. And I was hoping to push through it, but eventually the pain started to get to me because it was just too much to deal with. But also emotionally, it was holding me back on improving as well within my training. So that started to become frustrating for me.
Wow. Yeah.
How did you adjust to this diagnosis? How did you, I mean, you were awfully young. You're a young girl and you're told you have something with no cure. Now, I've given you the spoiler alert that there is a long life ahead for you. You have a long life ahead. But at the time, I'm wondering if you could hear that when you were told the diagnosis.
Oh, I did not handle any of that well. I got very angry. I got very stubborn. I went through pretty much the 5 stages of grief when it came to this diagnosis. And I stayed in the angry stage and the denial stage for a very long time. Part of it was after that tumor was removed, which took 2 surgeries to get out. I was in a wheelchair. I couldn't walk because of the nerve damage that happened in my right leg. And so to go from dancing for almost 40 hours a week to not walking, it was a whole shock to my system.
Well, once you got this diagnosis and wrapped your arms around it, did you have a strong support system in your family, with friends, with doctors, guiding you through those first years of trying to process this and manage and find a way of living boldly the way you've always been able to live?
The support system was always there. My mom was always right there trying to figure out what could be done. She did not, and she still doesn't. She doesn't take the fact that there's no cure as an answer. So she is always
I like that.
researching.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And a lot of people don't take that as an answer.
Right.
But she especially is just always trying to find the answer. And for me, when those first early years, yes, I had great doctors. I got very lucky with my first neurosurgeon who took out that first tumor, because when a second tumor was found in this right around the same area, he was the one who immediately was like, we need to get some genetic testing done. I think this is NF. And he was right. He is very knowledgeable, and I still
You're
keep in touch with
lucky that
him.
he recognized it as a possibility.
Oh,
I know with
yes.
my rare disease, it took 15 years before I happened to be in the chair of one doctor that knew this rare disease. Most had never heard of it.
I am extremely lucky. I have heard some horror stories from other patients about doctors not taking their pain seriously, or because they're younger and they're saying their pain, that they're actually voicing it for attention because their parents are going through a divorce. And it like they make it seem like it's the child being dramatic. And so to have my situation of being diagnosed easy in comparison, I feel really lucky to have
Lucky,
had that.
yeah, very lucky. And then how did the surgery to remove your right acoustic neuroma, how did you handle that, which left you deaf in 1 year? And how did that affect your daily life?
That surgery was oddly enough the easiest one to accept out of all of them, because it was 12 years after the diagnosis. And so I went through some tough love, some great therapy to really balance my life and find that acceptance. And by this time, I got involved with Children's Tumor Foundation, and I had a community behind me of friends and family and other people who understood what I was going through because they also went through it. And I knew that my life, yes, there was going to be some alternatives, but the only thing that was going to make it change and everything was whether or not I let it.
Good for you.
So, Leanna, you run marathons. Why? Why run marathons? What made you, what drove you there?
So it kind of goes back to me being like first diagnosed of stubbornness. Marathon is a stubborn thing. I actually kind of blame my brother for the marathon piece. But the running itself started during the pandemic because I just wanted to get outside and move and not look at the four walls of my living room. And then my mom reminded me that New York Roadrunner is living in New York City. They hosted races in Central Park all the time, and things were opening back up again. And so I signed up for a small 4-mile race in Central Park, and I just got bit by the run bug.
Wow.
Within the first year, my brother was here visiting, and we got brunch on a Sunday, and it was coincidentally Marathon Sunday here in the city. And we were eating breakfast, and just where the diner was right on First Avenue. So we had the perfect view of the marathon going past at like right around mile 18. It was where we were eating.
Oh, wow.
And of course, like after you experience it, you realize mile 18 is probably like the toughest part of the race because that's where your mental endurance starts to kick in.
I see.
And he's like, nah, you can't do that. And I was like, yes, yeah, I
Oh,
can. He's like, look at these people, they're exhausted. And I'm like, I can do it. I could so do it. And so signing up was really kind of to prove him wrong.
I see. Oh, good for you.
Good for
Good for
you.
you. So now you run marathons, which I have to say, I've never run one, never will, but I've cheered friends who've been runners. But you don't just run marathons, you run them under difficult circumstances. So after major surgeries, talk about that, what that's like. You're handicapped as compared to the others.
Yes. So my first marathon, I actually ran when I was on a experimental drug trial, another immunotherapy.
Oh my goodness.
Um, and my body just, I had to take more precautions in training and making sure that I was fueling myself properly, hydrating, and really just tuning in to making sure that I wasn't pushing myself too hard and letting myself walk when needed and just
Mm,
really listening to what my body needed. Um, but running after surgeries, uh, that just goes back to when I was a teenager and being put in a wheelchair after
mm,
my very first one.
Wow.
mm,
I mentally decided that I wasn't going to let another surgery or another tumor say no for me
mm.
and always find a way to run a race.
Wow.
So I know that runners have a lot of strategies. So can you tell us what was your first marathon like? Now you're a pro.
That's it.
You know how to run, you have a strategy, you know how to train. But your first one, what was that like?
And what was it like crossing the finish line when
Yes.
you made it
Oh,
through your first one?
finish line was the best, I'll tell you.
Ah,
So my first marathon was the 2023 New York City Marathon.
Mhm.
I knew it had to be the New York City Marathon as my first marathon.
uh-huh.
It's my home race, and on top of it, my dad's a marathoner, and he's run
Oh,
it.
wow.
Ah.
Yeah, he's run the marathon like a good 11 times. He
Oh,
was
Oh,
back
wow.
when
So
it
it's
was
in your
still,
genes.
it's in
ah.
there. He ran it in the 70s and the 80s when it was still only like 20,000 people,
Mm,
and
Wow.
entry fees were like $50.
So cool.
Yes, but for training and leading up to it, again, it was just making sure that I was listening to my body. And unfortunately, like, if that meant if I wasn't feeling up to snuff, my training runs were cut short because I
Mhm.
wanted to
mhm,
make sure that I was listening to it. But also at the same time, I did have to have some runs where I pushed through those pains to see what would
mm,
happen.
mhm,
Um,
Wow.
that way I could anticipate any situation during the race. But during that first race, it was tough. I was making sure I was hydrating as much as I possibly could.
That's
mhm.
important. Yeah.
I also had medication with me on the course to
Wow.
maintain any potential side effects. So I was taking it like clockwork, like every couple hours while I was out there to just make sure I had no accidents.
Wow.
Um, yep, but I do distinctly remember at mile 19, because they had Children's Tumor Foundation had a cheering section, and I ran into
Oh,
the arms of the NF Endurance team director, Lydia Vanderloo, and I gave her a big hug, and she's like, "How's it going?" And I go, "I'm
oh.
rethinking all of my life choices."
I
And
Oh.
love it.
yeah, and she's like, "No, you're not," and physically shoved me to
Right
keep
back.
moving
To keep
forward.
you going forward. Yep.
Yep. And she ran with me like two
Oh,
or three more blocks, and she's like, "You got to keep going. I know you can do it. You did the training. You will hate
oh.
yourself if you stop." And she was right. I was going to
Oh,
hate myself
wow.
if I stopped.
I have to
So,
I am crying. I am
I
just
know,
totally
this
crying.
is-
This is so, I'm just so excited to hear what you're saying and so moved by this. Oh my
You are
goodness.
one strong cookie. I mean,
Yes.
you really put your
Oh
mind to
my goodness.
something and you get it done, but you
Yeah.
also respect your body and your needs and are so just aware and alert of anything you have to really think about. And I love that you have a
Geez.
good blend of getting it done, but also respecting what works for you. And I know
Yeah.
you recently ran both the New York City and the Berlin marathons, and now you're training for Tokyo, which is
Mhm.
unbelievable. And what's it like, back to what we were talking about, preparing for such major races while balancing ongoing medical care? Just what we were talking about.
So this time training is a little bit different because I do have a tumor in my lower spine that is acting up and it is due to be removed. But because I'm also still on an immunotherapy treatment known as Avastin, I need to actually wait until I'm done with my current cycle and then until it's out of my system to have a major surgery because it does make me more vascular, which means I am a higher risk for bleeding out on
Bleeding.
the
Yeah.
table.
Yeah.
Oh.
So the surgery does have to wait until April, which is perfect because that means I can fit Tokyo in. Um,
Oh my goodness.
but when it comes to training, especially this time around, I need to really make sure that I'm strong. So rather than just focusing on the running and getting the distance in and the speed in, I got to focus on strength training to make sure my muscles can support the extra situations going on and the possible pain that I will be experiencing on the course outside of what makes a marathon.
Right. And can you share your goal, Leanna, of becoming the first runner with NF2 to compete in all 7 Abbott
Mm.
Marathon Majors? You are about halfway through to doing this. And what does that milestone mean to you personally?
Oh, yep. When I found out that the Abbott World Majors had a list of them, and mind you, it was still 6 at the time, I knew I had to do it because one, I just love completing lists, but I was curious to see like what has been done out there. And I realized on the Guinness Book of World Records website, there was no record of anyone with NF of any kind to have run. Most recently with Berlin, there was one person, one woman with NF1 who posted her time, and she took the title as the fastest woman with NF1 to run the Berlin Marathon. I think she did it in about 5.5 hours, but it still
Wow.
counts. It still counts as something. And for me, doing this and completing these majors, it's kind of like, and I hate to say it this way, but it's kind of like the biggest middle finger I can give to my diagnosis.
Mm. Mhm.
Well,
Mhm.
good for you, because it's
Yeah.
so true. It's not stopping you. It's not keeping you down, and it's not keeping you from, maybe you had to change what you wanted to do, but it's not keeping you from living a full, satisfying life. And hats off to you. And
Yeah.
I got to ask you, do you see running as a form of advocacy, raising awareness for NF2 while challenging stereotypes about living with rare diseases and showing people you may modify what your goals are, but you can still go after some goals?
Absolutely. I share my story online through Instagram and TikTok, and I have had so many people reach out to me being, I'm going to just saying how they're going to start running. I've had moms who ask, like, it's amazing that you're running. Is there any tips I can give for my child? Because he's loving to run and I wasn't sure if I should let him, but seeing you do this is making me realize to let him
Motivating.
be,
Yeah.
and motivating and letting him do it. But also even on the course, people recognize the shirts that we wear for Children's Tumor Foundation. I have a big white square on the back that says End NF, and it's actually how I found them myself. During my first half marathon, the New York City half marathon in, I think, 2022, I was running, and around mile 3, I was kind of scanning the area, and up ahead of me was this runner wearing a blue shirt that had a big box on the back saying End NF, and I cried because it was the first time that I saw NF so candidly out in the open. And I have gotten to experience that reaction so many times during the races. I have people who come up and tap me on the shoulder and be like, "Oh my gosh, I know this. Someone else I know has this." Even after my first New York City marathon, while I was waiting for my mom to fight her way through the crowds to get up to find me, I ended up just lying down on the sidewalk with my feet up along the wall just to like get some blood flow moving. And another runner was like, "That's a good idea," and lied down right next to me. And she did the same. And I was on the phone with my mom talking, and I was telling her how some other runners on the course recognized the shirt and everything. The woman next to me, she goes, "I'm so sorry to interrupt. Did you just say Children's Tumor Foundation?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Like,
Wow.
my husband and my brother-in-law have NF2. And I was like,
Oh my.
Oh, wow.
yeah. And then the following year, her mother-in-law ran the New York City half.
Oh, that's what a story. That's
Yes. So being able to share this awareness with everyone and showing them that life is possible, it really means the world to me, because it's something that I've always wanted for myself and I never wanted to give up. So the fact that I'm still doing it and continuing to do it, it's
you
great.
go, girl, go. Because I mean, this is just spectacularly motivating and inspiring. Thank you. Just
Leanna,
beautiful.
I just want to take this opportunity to congratulate you on being the ambassador for the Children's Tumor Foundation. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Congratulations. What does that role entail? What do you do for that?
For that, for me, it's all about representing the community and being a light for people going through this. And it's something that I've done even before given the title. And so the fact that I even received that formal title was absolutely amazing. And being at events and getting to speak for people on panels at different forums and medical symposiums for things. It's been really quite wonderful to have, because you get people who come up to you and they thank you. You don't know them, but they thank you because they know you. And, you know, my title year is coming to an end with 2025 closing, but I know being an ambassador will never stop for me, regardless.
Well, all I can say is I can promise that you have done an excellent job. You are such an articulate speaker, and you show the way to so many people. They were so smart to select you. So smart.
Thank you.
Nick, can I ask you, what do you wish that people knew about NF2? And that means, you know, the general public, healthcare providers.
Kind of wish people and healthcare providers knew that NF2 is just as important as all types. A lot of the times, because of the statistic in rarities between the types, a lot of research will focus on NF1 because there's more people diagnosed with NF1 than there is with NF2. And NF2 is more common than schwannomatosis. NF2 is only 1 in 20,000 births, whereas NF1 is 1 in every 2,000 births.
Hmm.
So NF1 has multiple FDA approved drugs. They're up to 2 now, and they're working on a third. But NF2 is still, all of their drugs are in experimental phases. Even Avastin, which has been utilized for years now to help treat NF2 patients, it has not been given the FDA approval as a treatment for NF2. And so I wish to see more commonality and common ground in care. But at the same time, research is research. Whether NF1 is getting the treatments or NF2 is getting the treatments, it's a genetic disorder at the end of the day. Yes, our chromosomes, where the mutation is different. Awareness is awareness. Treatments can be transferable in some way or another. So as far as I'm concerned, anything that's positive is positive for the entire community.
I hear you. I hear you. And what message do you hope your story sends to young people who are diagnosed with NF2 or other rare conditions today?
I just hope my story shows people that life keeps going, and it's still worth living and being part of as a full participant. But also, it's not easy to get here. I'm very open about the struggles that I went through with accepting it and getting to this spot, because watching me, like, oh, I make it look so easy, but it was very difficult getting here. And that's part of the whole process of doing it and accepting it. Like, I feel like you do need to go through a little dark patch to find the light, but the light is there, and I want people to hold on to it and not lose sight of it, even if it takes a while to grasp it.
That's beautiful.
Amazing.
Looking ahead, what are your hopes for your own future and for the future of NF2 research and treatment?
I'm actually really excited for the next steps for treatment. In China, they're doing genetic therapy. And there's a couple different variations of genetic therapy out there, and it is so complicated to understand. But one of them I know is a type of mutated virus. So kind of like the flu shot that you get. It would be injected directly into the tumor, and it would kind of trick your body into thinking it's a virus, the tumor is a virus. And so it would continue to attack it with creating the protein that our bodies can't make. For NF2, it's Merlin, which is tumor cells grow out of control. So it would trick the body into thinking we have it and destroy the tumor. Yeah, so I'm very excited for it to come over here into the US. US right now, we're waiting for government approval because we don't have clearance to experiment on humans just yet, but it's been successful in mice, thankfully. So we're just waiting, and I'm just really looking forward to it. My doctor knows that I am ready to sign up as soon as it becomes available. I'm always someone who is willing to participate in research because, as far as I'm concerned, even if it's not successful for me personally, it still gives research an answer they need to go into a different direction. Yeah. So I'm very excited about that. But for me, I'm just excited to keep going. And just, NF is a part of me, but it's not all of me.
You are so much more than NF2, Leanna. You are so much more. What a great star you are.
That's it. And what a beautiful, hopeful note to end on. And I've got to say, Leanna, thank you for sharing your journey and your story with It Happened to Me today. Our listeners are so lucky to be able to hear such a wonderful spokesperson and role model for the NF2 community and the rare disease community. I just thank you, and such good luck on your goals with the Abbott grouping of 7 marathons. That's incredible.
Thank you so much for having me and giving me the opportunity to share my story. I hope someone out there is moved by it and they don't need to sign up for a marathon, but at least they can keep going.
That's so beautiful. And I'd love our listeners to know that in the show notes, any resources that Leanna wants to be sure we will post in the show notes. So if people want to find out more about the Child Tumor Foundation or about anything you've spoken of, we'll have links to get you to those resources.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Just so inspirational. And such good luck to you in the future.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to this episode of It Happened to Me. We encourage you to learn more at ithappenedtomepod.com. Please use the contact form on our website to submit your guest suggestions, comments, questions, ideas, and feedback for the show. You can also email us directly at ithappenedtomepod@gmail.com. We would really appreciate it if you can leave us a 5-star rating and review on your podcast app like Apple or Spotify. This helps others in the rare disease and medical challenge community find us. It Happened to Me is created and hosted by Cathy Gildenhorn and Beth Glassman. I'm Keir Deneen from DNA Today, and I serve as our executive producer and marketing lead. Amanda Andrioli is our associate producer. Ashlyn Anokian is our graphic designer. And remember, it happened to me. I'm not alone, and neither are you.